Look at this map of United States territorial growth. We're taught to read this east to west march as the inevitable spread of liberty. But look at those same borders from the perspective of the people forced to harvest the crops. The story reverses. Westward expansion was driven by racial capitalism. It was a ruthless business model that required a constant supply of stolen land and cheap, disenfranchised labor. The legal framework of the early United States was specifically designed to lock Black, Indigenous, and Latinx populations at the absolute bottom of this economic machine. Laws like the Naturalization Act of 1790 restricted citizenship to free white persons, while later state laws specifically banned Black settlement. These codes legally barred entire groups from basic human rights. When your own government and its laws are explicitly designed to crush you, where do you find the tools to organize a resistance? They didn't look east to Europe or to the politicians in Washington. They looked south. In the 1790s, the Haitian Revolution proved to enslaved people in the United States that a victorious uprising was possible. Shortly after, Mexico's War of Independence abolished slavery and caste systems right next door. This gave rise to emancipatory internationalism, a strategy where oppressed people looked across national borders to find allies and plan their liberation. The Underground Railroad also carved a path toward the southern border. Enslaved people escaped into Mexico, guided by Tejano activists who risked execution to help them reach sanctuary. Prominent Black abolitionists like Frederick Douglass publicly pointed to these Latin American and Caribbean victories as superior models of freedom, holding them up to expose the hypocrisy of the American Republic. For the 19th century working class, achieving freedom was a hemispheric, borderless war against racial capitalism. In the 1960s, the blueprint for multiracial, borderless solidarity resurfaced. In the fields of the West, organizers applied these 19th century strategies to a new era of labor struggle. The United Farm Workers built a powerful, multiracial coalition to combat the agricultural industry's systemic abuses of its workforce. Labor leaders like Cesar Chavez drew explicit connections between the exploitation of farm workers in California and the broader global struggle against imperialism. They found a dedicated ally in Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who maintained that civil rights were inseparable from economic and labor rights. When King was assassinated in Memphis while supporting striking sanitation workers, the Farm Workers newspaper identified him as a man killed because he was helping workers to organize. Activists mounted joint protests, holding signs for the farm worker boycott alongside messages that linked their fight directly to the legacy of anti-slavery. These movements understood that racism and labor exploitation were the exact same machine. Dismantling it required a united, multiracial front. Today, modern political rhetoric frequently focuses on building physical and ideological walls between the United States and the global South. But looking at this history strips the credit from politicians and elites, forcing us to rethink who actually built American democracy. Civil liberties were forced into existence by a united, multiracial working class that simply refused to be divided. True American democracy was forged from the bottom up, through the borderless solidarity of Black and Latinx workers. Their linked struggles mapped an entirely new path to freedom.